Hey everybody, welcome back to Haven Family Farm. We are standing in the lime fertilizer and hopefully compost spreader today. We're going to start some modifications in here. You can see the inside of this is got, it's not flaking off rust, but it's a rusty surface. It's very, very coarse all the way around here. In fact, I can just about stand on it. What we're going to do is I got a rusty metal primer. We're going to prime this just to seal it. And then I got some plastic panels to put in here to hopefully make this more slippery. So that's what we're going to do first. And then the second thing we're going to do, I can't really show you here, but we'll show you on the outside, is basically we're going to cut this opening bigger and move the door up. So that's what we're going to get started with here today. And we'll see how it goes. I do have some other things planned. I ordered some augers to possibly put in here, one here on this side and one on this side to keep things moving. But parts are hard to come by, it takes forever, so we're going to start with what we can. All right, there she is, all primed. I didn't get perfectly everything, but it's better than it was. So some of you may be wondering why I was using a roller and a brush. And when you're in an area like this, kind of enclosed, not enclosed, but where you got sidewalls, the overspraying things just builds up, and spraying it in a gun just makes a bigger mess on everything. Obviously it looks nicer, but this doesn't matter aesthetically, you know, so it was much faster just to do it that way. You know, there's a few little runs and things, but you can kind of see how really rough and uneven it is in here. So my original plan was, you know, to prime this, and I bought a special paint that is meant for snow plows. Some company designed it, and it was designed to create an extra slippery surface on a snow plow, so when you're plowing, you know, frozen wet snow chunks don't stick to the plow. But you know, after further looking at how rough and dimpled and bumpy this thing is, I'm still concerned that I'm going to waste my time doing that. So I did buy some plastic. You know, it's not as thick and heavy as I wanted, but stuff is limited right now. So we're going to try it. We'll put it in here today in this video. We'll get it installed. We'll have to cut it a little bit because it narrows at the bottom. I'm waiting for this primer to dry. So we'll bolt that in. One side is nice and smooth, and we'll give it a go, see how it works. And the other thing we're going to do here very shortly, I'm going to move the ouch, that was my knee I just smacked. So I'm going to back this up by the garage over there. When the paint's dry, we're going to take out these two bolts here, and we're going to move this up so that the bottom here is up here somewhere. Basically, you know, I'm going to measure this. We'll double the size of the hole. It'll still be in the track, so I still will have the ability to close the gate some if I had to, not all the way. But the only thing I've ever tried to run in here, I'm not going to run fertilizer in this thing. I don't care. I have other fertilizer spreaders. So lime would be the only other thing I'm interested in, and to do that, the gate is open quite a ways. So even if I move the gate up here, I can still drop it down and block the hole enough that I believe I can still get my right setting, because I think it is actually open up most of the way for the 4,000 pounds per acre, what I usually put. Yeah, it says setting 8. So yeah, it only goes to 9, so 8 would be almost all the way open. So I'll actually be able to drop this down and get it pretty close to where this height would be to 8. So it's still going to work out for me. It wouldn't work for fertilizer. You'd have to put your little patch back in, but whatever. So let's let that dry. We'll move that, we'll unbolt that, and we'll keep moving. Okay, so we got this guy moved up, re-drilled some holes and bolted them up there. You can see this opening now is basically, it's just over double the size of that. So now I have a border here. What I'm going to do is get the plasma cutter out and kind of use this edge here as my guide for the plasma. And we'll go ahead and cut this out. And I did try it. It does go up and down. Other than I have a little bend in the bar here, I'll need to straighten out if I want to drop it down, but it does move. So that's the next step here, is to go ahead and plasma that piece out. All right, there we go. Got her plasmid out. Still learning a little bit on the plasma cutter. And this material here is actually pretty thick, so I didn't quite have the right angle. I don't think I had it turned up enough. But anyway, like I said, still learning on that. Then just took the grinder around and kind of cleaned up the edges so there was nothing sharp. So that's done. And now we can, oh, wrong way. We can turn this baby and we can drop this gate down. There's the old holes up there, you can see them. So we got a nice big hole here now because we needed more material to come out. So I imagine that gate will probably drop down to about here somewhere and close off the hole. So like I said, that's somewhere right around then here is where the 4-ton-acre lime is, right around this little dimple. So that'll be fine. But I think that's going to help get some of the material out too, because the conveyor always emptied off and then the stuff wouldn't slide down on it. So I'm going to go to lunch, finish letting this primer dry because I put it on kind of thick. And then when I come back after lunch, we'll put the plastic in. All right, here we have it. The two plastic ones on this, the piece on this side fits better than the piece on that side because somebody, I don't know who, doesn't know how to use a tape measure. So I mismeasured, and not me, somebody else, mismeasured that one by a few inches. So whatever, I'm gonna use it. It's not gonna make that big of a difference. But this is some glossy stuff here. I know there's some dirt sitting on it there, but it's pretty glossy and slippery. The other side had texture to it. Again, it's not as thick as I wanted, but it's what I could get quickly without spending a ton of money to see if it's going to work great or not. And I can always upgrade to something a little heavier duty in the future. It would have to be still a little bit thin and flexible because of all the waviness in the sides here. If I had something like 1/2 inch thick that was solid, there'd be no way for me to bolt it down without stressing it, just because of the way things are bent a little bit. But I did, you know, bolt them down. I did end up having to put 3 bolts in the bottom here. There's one in the middle and then one back here. I tried to keep it to a minimum. I put 4 across the top and then down the sides, but yeah, I'm afraid stuff's gonna get caught on those. But the plastic isn't thick enough for a carriage bolt, because the carriage bolt, you know, has that rounded top, but then it has the little square shank, and the plastic isn't thick enough to accept that square shank at all. So if I had a thicker plastic, I could probably switch to a carriage bolt in here, and then really wouldn't have to worry about it, but did the best I could for now. So everything's primed. Like I said, the hole's cut out here. You guys saw that. I was just greasing things up. All right, so we're down the field here. We're gonna try spreading some compost where we're gonna plant pumpkins. Normally in places where I'm gonna put a crop like a pumpkin or a vegetable, I'd want the compost a little heavier, so I'd use a manure spreader. But this was already hooked up, and we've never tried it out yet since we did those modifications. So I'll probably have to go over the field twice to get enough compost down, because I've set this up for hay ground, not for, you know, vegetables and things like that. So let's come over here, we'll take a look. And I ended up loading that a little lopsided. Don't mind all the bird poo. And I had noticed I loaded it lopsided, and I thought about getting the machine and flicking it over to the middle, but in the end this may end up working out for me a little bit. I'm gonna have to do 2 loads, 2 half loads. This isn't even quite half a load, it's close. But it may work in my favor, because if this empties out, that might roll over rather than the whole thing being jammed full. But anyway, so let me climb down here. We're gonna get going. I apologize, there's rain coming and I got hay down and all kinds of stuff going on. So I forgot my camera, so we're gonna have to use the phone here today. All right, we're struggling here, but you can see the difference. There's the compost. I had a bed pack manure pile next to this, and I scooped up a little of that. It was just on the edge, and that bed pack has some hay and stuff in it. That refuses to fall at all. I have to keep shoveling it. So I don't think this is going to be a fair test whether things have helped. That is just packed so tight there with the hay and everything. That's obviously not what we're trying to spread in here. That would be the manure spreader, that loose compost there. So I'm going to keep going with this. I won't have any of that in the second load, so we'll see if that's any better. All right, well, needless to say, this did not work out. Whew. I didn't film any of it because every 100 feet I had to stop and shovel. Just about done with the field now here. You can see that's mostly compost over there. There's a tiny bit of wood chip bedding in it, but no big clumps of hay or anything. And you can see it's just sitting there. I don't know if you can see on these sides here some like dirty scratch marks on the plastic. That's my boots slipping trying to stand in here and shovel. So I get a little bit of this wet compost on them, and I can't stand in here, but yet the stuff can just sit there and stick right to the plastic. So that was a fail. I guess we'll go on to plan B. I have another idea, something I was hoping to avoid doing in here, but another modification. So I'd appreciate it if you hit the subscribe bell icon, give me a thumbs up for all the shoveling I had to do. I would appreciate it. Thanks for watching, everybody. Stay tuned for future updates. We'll have some more fabrication going, all sorts of other stuff. So thanks again for watching.